Hello, everybody. Welcome to our afternoon together with geometric gardening and geometric gardens and all that kind of stuff. We're still a little bit ahead of time, so what we're going to do is just get you used to the cobblestone collection format of the ways that we get to answer questions. So we have somebody in the background. We have Amar in the background. He's looking after everything, and he's going to be watching a form. So on that form, what you're going to be doing is you're going to write whatever answers or whatever things we're talking about, and that's where you'll put your answers in so he can see them, and then he's going to mention them to me, and we'll all be in contact and everything. So if you can open up another tab on your computer right now, if you have the time to do that, open another tab and just put in the cc.page/GeoGardens. So GeoGardens. There's an S on GeoGardens. Okay, so let's just try this out and see whether or not some of you are already able to get that window open. You should see that you can put in your name there, and then you can put in whatever kind of a response that we're asking for. So my first question for everybody today is, what do you notice in this picture? What do you see in this picture? And you can think about what our topic is today. That's fine and dandy, but I just want to know, what do you see? What do you see? It's one of the first questions we always ask whenever we're doing something in art and we want to critically analyze something. So this is just a picture for right now, but tell me what you see. What sort of things are there that you see? Give us your name as well. That'd be great, because then Amar can do some shout outs for you as well. So if you're just joining, you're just opening up another window so that you can actually fill in this form. And the form that we want you to communicate with us with is the cc.page/GeoGardens. Okay, so put that into your computer, tell us your name, and my question right now is a very, very simple one. What do you see in this picture? What do you see in this image?
I see a really handsome set of hair. That's what I'm seeing, Mary.
Thank you. Is it mine or is it the horses?
You got me now.
That's great, and that's Amar that you're hearing in the background there. I don't think he's on camera at all, but he's watching the form that you're filling in right now, and you know, it's great if some people are writing down there's a horse. That's fine and dandy, but try to go a little deeper for me now, right? We're all grade 4 to grade 8. You know, you guys can come up with some other things too. What else do you see in this picture? Think about what we're doing today. Mara, any kind of answers there that are intriguing? Want them to think outside the box here. Getting a lot of horses.
So we are seeing Harishita, yeah, Jeremiah saying a horse. Alakabulia adding the color. It's a brown horse. Great. Jackson with a horse with a lot of hair. So we're kind of touching on that description. We're getting there.
Yeah, it's coming for sure. So when I look at this picture, I can see that the brown tones are what's coming out the most to me, right? The color in the horse. The horse has all kinds of different shades of brown as well. So even the mane is actually a slightly brown color too. So instead of just saying, yep, I see a horse, maybe there's some other things there. And for me today, and if you're just joining us, we'll give you a chance on the next slide to, if you haven't got the form already up and everything. This slide actually I put in because this horse actually has a line of symmetry on it. And that's what I was wondering. Oh, Amar, do I see that somebody said somebody saw triangles and rectangles?
Let me see, there's a lot coming in that.
Oh, there's a lot coming in. I just noticed that. I looked over and I just noticed it. And yes, you're absolutely right. Triangles, his ears are actually almost triangular for sure. And if you drew a line down the middle of that horse's face, a straight line all the way down, you will notice for the most part, his face is symmetrical. Whatever you're seeing on the left side of his head is actually the same as what's on the right side of his head. So that's the first one. All right, next one's up. All right, you know what my question is going to be. What do you see? What do you see? So if you are just joining us, welcome. Hello. Welcome to Geometric Gardening today. And we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff actually with looking at symmetry and math and visual arts today. But if you can set yourself up with another tab on your computer or on your laptop, whatever you're using today, and write in the cc.page/Geo Gardens. So Geo Gardens, GeoGardens. And I've been asking everybody on the second picture, what do you see? And I want you to think math and visual arts. Math and visual arts. What happens there? I see some more still things here about the horse and that too, so I have to scroll down a little. So what's happening is, as you are putting your answers into the form, we can see your answers and we're going to be able to communicate with you there as well. Oh, and Mina said an unsymmetrical picture. Thanks, Mina. Good for you. You're going along the right lines here now. An unsymmetrical picture. We'll talk about that pretty soon anyways as well. So I'm going to go on and take a look down a little bit further here. Yeah, definitely a plant. See different shapes. I'm seeing that Ahmed is saying an optical illusion. And it's really kind of cool, Ahmed, because this is actually a plant. It's a real live plant that this picture is taken of. So the optical illusion that you're likely talking about is you see what's happening and what's going on here. And Amaran, I know you're still busy trying to get everybody in and everything, so I won't ask you this question, but I wonder if anybody could tell me if they know what kind of symmetry is actually in this picture, because it's another form of symmetry. It's not a reflection like what we saw on the horse. The horse had a reflection, a line of reflection, a line of symmetry to it. But this one is, oh, I see somebody said a spiral plant too. Yeah, absolutely. So spiral is a really good word to give you a hint to what kind of symmetry this is. So I'm going to look down here a little bit farther. Somebody's, Sharon says, I see a pattern. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Rose said, yep, I see a plant that looks like an illusion for sure. And the symmetrical, Oliver is saying a very symmetrical plant if you start in the center. So you're right, actually, that's completely right, Oliver. If you look in the center of this, you almost see a star starting at the very, very center of it and going out. And this kind of symmetry, I don't see anybody that's written the answer. I'm trying to find it. A symmetrical flower. Oh, so close. Okay, so, and somebody, oh, I have Kinda saying it's diagonal symmetry. That's neat. That's a neat way of looking at it. This is called radial symmetry. Radial symmetry because it starts at a radius and all the lines of symmetry come out from that radius. Okay, all these kinds of symmetry are important to later on to what we're going to be doing. So think about the first one, reflected symmetry. This one's called radial. Starts at a radius in one spot and away it goes around. Okay, we got one more while we have everybody else still joining us. I see that there's still some people coming in. If you're just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Geo Gardens today we're going to be taking a look at and doing some really cool stuff with. And we've just been talking about symmetry so far. So my question has been very simple. What do you see? But now we're starting to get people realizing, okay, Mary wants something a little bit more here. I don't want to just know, oh, I see a plant. You're right, there's definitely a plant there. It's green. But I want you to think about what you're seeing as far as math goes as well. So what is it that you see there with these leaves? And you're right, I am looking for a type of symmetry as well. And this one was really unusual to me. I've been teaching math for a lot of years, but I'd never actually really used this term very much. So I thought it was kind of cool to see that it was out there in nature as well. So let's see. Spiral plant, that's still from the other one. Seeing, oh, Aisha, well done. A pine cone is the Fibonacci. You're absolutely right. The way that it goes around and around in that radial symmetry as well. Cool. You've been doing some research on that. That's neat. Linear symmetry, Isabel is saying. Linear symmetry. That's neat too. I like that idea of it as well. Another illusion. Oh, Harishitha. I hope I've said that right. I'm so sorry if I've mispronounced that at all. Says, I see non-symmetry. That's cool. And you're right, because at the moment, it's definitely not a reflection. Although, like, look at those leaves. They're so similar. So there's got to be some kind of a word to that too. Sideways symmetry. I like that. Tatum said sideways symmetry. Reflection, Hunter, you're right. There's a reflection, but something happened to the reflection. It's not right exactly at the same spot. So what is different to it? What's happening that it moves just that little bit? And that's a hint for you as well. 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, says Vethia. Oh, the leaf's symmetrical, but the whole plant is not symmetrical. And that's Jackson adding that in. All right, you guys are coming up some really good answers. And I'm not seeing the one that I know this to be called. And what I was talking about and when we were saying it's like symmetry, but it's not quite as symmetrical because the whole plant doesn't do it. So it's a glide symmetry. So what is on the right side, I guess on my left side, whichever, is actually the same on the right, but it's just been moved. And that's kind of cool as well. And again, for everybody, the people that are just joining us, all these things about symmetry are really important for later on when we get to do some of our own creating. So it's all going to be there. So, Amar, how are we doing about getting everybody in? Do we seem to have everybody there now?
Looks good. I think we are ready to get started with the hour. Thanks everyone for joining us. Your form responses are totally awesome. Like, we're getting it loud and clear.
Nice. Oh, that's amazing. This is perfect. Okay, so as you know, all throughout this entire workshop, anytime that you want to actually ask a question or just shout something out, right? Absolutely add it in, because that's what we're wanting to see. And I did see some shout outs, and I'm sure Amar will get to some of those as well as we're going along. He was just busy trying to get everybody all set up. All right. I'd like to acknowledge, so it's very likely that you're participating and learning from or near the territorial land of one of the many Indigenous groups across Canada. I acknowledge that I'm presenting today from the territory of the local people of the 1923 Williams Treaty, the Anishinaabe, the Mississauga, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, on whose beautiful land I'm able to teach and learn and explore and share my passion for arts integration with you. Team today that you got, my name's Mary. I'm living in Brighton, Ontario, and it's so funny because I have retired from my own classroom and my own students. So this is really cool for me to be able to still do this with all of you out there. So I'm thrilled to be here, and as I said, arts integration is what I love doing. So any kind of subject that I can put the arts into, that's what I love to do. And Amar, can you introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, I almost forgot to unmute myself. I would have owed you a quarter. Hey everyone, my name is Amar. I'm going to be hanging out mostly in the background. I'm going to jump in every now and then. Teachers, if you have any questions, if there's anything you want assistance on, use the live event Q&A. Students, please don't use the live event Q&A. Stick to the forums. Okay, that's where we're going to respond to you. And right back to you, Mary. Let's keep it going.
Oh, and you know what, Amar? I see 1,000 shout outs there now too for for you to pull in later on when we're working. Okay, that'd be amazing. All right, so here we go. Next slide. Huh? Why is my slide not wanting to go? Oh, this is just a reminder for everybody. If anything happens today that you realize, oh, I haven't got that yet, or I need to just take a break or whatever, remember, you can pause, you can rewind, you can replay. Everything is there for you, okay? So it takes all the stress out of it. Just breathe and have fun today. So we do want to hear from you, and we want to make sure everybody is in. So we'd like you to use the form one more time, and on the form this time, your names can go on. I know Amar is going to do some shout outs for you as well, so you don't need to worry about that. But what I would love to know is math your favorite subject, or a more favorite subject, or is visual art more intriguing to you? So where are you? I know sometimes there's some people that love math. It's just like their most favorite thing. And then there's other people that are like, Oh, the arts, man, that's just totally me. I just adore and love the arts. So if you can, for just this question, just put down your name and tell us whether or not math or visual arts is more your thing. Which way are you leaning today? Okay, and if you want to throw in, if neither one of those is really amazing for you, hopefully by the end of today we'll have changed your mind a little bit, but put in your favorite subject as well if you want to throw that in there too, and we'll see what we've got. All right, Amar.
You know what, I think we can do a couple shout outs while we wait for those answers to come in. We got Miss Bates' class joining us. We have Miss Paniculum's class. We have Miss Anika. Is that Miss Anika? Sorry if I mispronounced that. Miss Anika's class joining us as well. Tabassum, Pierre, Luke, Lincoln, Sonia, Mia. Thank you all so much for joining us. Let's see what some of the answers are. Okay, so Armand really enjoys math. So does Caleb. Ella prefers visual arts. Landon is down for math as well. Well, that strongly feels that art is the best.
Yes.
Loving these answers coming in.
I know.
We have Andrew supporting math. Adalina, also very passionate about visual arts is the best thing to happen to the world. Shivani also supports the visual arts. We got a nice balance. I mean, I know I'm saying visual arts a lot, but then we have people like Aryan, Quentin, Huda, and Arozo all joining in with math. Correction, Arozo supports MART, which is math and art together. I think he's going to enjoy this lesson.
I think so. That's cool. Neat. And you know what? That's what I was kind of wondering. It's just nice to know that for us so that we can kind of like, okay, that's neat to hear, because sometimes, you know, we don't realize what our students are really loving to do. So this, I think you're going to enjoy because it is going to actually bring both things together. So our plan today, we've already been starting to take a look at what symmetry looks like. We're going to meet an amazing, an amazing artist. I just did something there. I don't know what. I think I'm still okay. There we go. All right, we're going to look at an amazing artist. Her name is Clarice Cliff, and she just was so ahead of her time when she was creating her artwork. So she's a great inspiration for what we're going to do today. And then we are going to start creating. So geometric gardens, we'll explain it all. I know I saw earlier somebody said, what's a geometric garden? But you're going to see very soon. So what is symmetry, right? I know in your heads right now, you can tell me what your answer is, that's fine. And one of the major ways that we look at symmetry is through reflective symmetry, right? So line of symmetry, when one object looks exactly the same on one side as the other. And to see if an object is symmetrical, you can draw a line of symmetry or a line dividing the object to show that there's a perfect, a perfect match on each side. It's like making a mirror image. And that's the usual way we look at symmetry, but I'm hoping today we're going to introduce you to some of those other kinds of symmetry as well. So it all starts in nature, right? You can look at anything in nature and find lines of symmetry, find ways that things are symmetrical, like just this flower, right? You can almost see if you drew a line almost anywhere there, you can see what's going to happen as far as having it almost identical on one side to the other. How in the world can that happen, right? To be that amazing. Taking a look at this, here's another example, a kiwi cut in half. Now, fine and dandy, it's not quite symmetrical, not quite a circle right in the very center, but this could be very well what we could look at when we're talking about different types of symmetry. If I take a look, and I'm going to do this now, I'm going to just go into my team space, if I can get that to come up here properly. Oh, sorry there. Got you there. And oh my gosh, Amar, this is unreal. Where did it all go? I know. Let's just see here. Well, that is really weird. My Teams is gone. All right, well, I'm going to go back up. Huh, that is really, really weird. Okay, I'm not going to be going into there for the moment anyways. Anyhow, what I was going to say, and I guess what I could do, if I could insert, let's just insert right on here. It might actually work. Can we do a line? Let's draw a line. Right, so if I was able to and take a look at this, and this is what I was going to show you in on our whiteboard, but I'll come back to that after. That's fine. That if I wanted to, I could draw a line anywhere on here. Look at my beautiful line. Oh my word, that's bad. Let's try ink to shape. Okay, let's do that sucker. Let's see if we can make it turn into a proper line there.
So just to be clear, right now the students aren't doing this. We're just watching your screen, Mary.
Yeah.
If they are doing this, they would go into the draw tab, or which tab is that?
That tab was the draw tab. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now in my PowerPoint. So I would
notice that. Nice.
Yeah, oh, thanks for mentioning that though as well. So yes, I went into draw and I drew it with my touch, and I likely should have just gotten out the ruler, and I could have easily put my ruler on top. Actually, what I'll do is I'm just going to get rid of this guy. Take off my ruler for a second. Oh, I'm still drawing. I don't want to lasso. Sorry, just going back here. I'm going to get rid of that guy. Here it is, and delete. Okay, so we have the kiwi. And if I went in, what I was doing was drawing with touch, but I found that I can't draw straight down. So that was why I went into ink to shape, and that actually turned my line into a straight line for me. But what I can also do, and I can do this as well when I'm looking at the looking on whiteboard as well, is that I can actually put the ruler there, and then I can draw next to the ruler. So I can go in and get any kind of pen that I want, and I can change the color. I know Amar really likes the galaxy, so let's use galaxy today, Amar. We can do that and change the thickness. And I can draw my line. Whoops. There we go. I was going to say it should actually draw right straight along the ruler. And so there I have my ruler. So if I take a look though with my ruler, I can move that, and anywhere along here that I actually go through the center or the radius of my circle, I can actually draw another line. So I could continue to do this all kinds of times all the way around. And because I can do this to infinity, right? It's a circle. We call that circular symmetry as well, because I can just keep going and going and going, and whatever's on one side of my line is going to be the same as the other. Okay, so the same thing I can do obviously with this butterfly, again, something from nature. And I was going to have you actually answer me here and say what kind of symmetry it is. So while I'm working away here and talking, why don't you in the chat on our forum, why don't you put down what kind of symmetry do you think this is going to be ending up to be? Because if I put my ruler across like this, is it the same on the top as what's on the bottom? No, it's not, right? So if I, though, turn my ruler to be at 90 degrees, so straight up and down, and I draw my line now, and Amar, I'm gonna change the color because let's see. I think, oh, I don't want to burn my poor little butterfly. Put him in the ocean instead. Here we go. So if I draw along my line now, and I take my ruler away, and I'm going to just move that line. Oh, look at the color. It's still going. Undo. And I went up just up to the top, very top corner there. I can undo things I don't like, but I'm going back to my pointer over on the far left there, so that now my pointer is going to be moving this. And as you can see, if I put that right in the center, incredible. We have exactly the same thing on the left-hand side as we do on the right-hand side. Now, did anybody put in an answer? Amar, about what kind of symmetry we had here?
Yeah, well, I saw some folks, Xavier said vertical line of symmetry. Kaylee said line of symmetry, Simon, vertical symmetry. Radhika is saying reflection. So we have a couple of different terminology happening.
That's great, and she's absolutely right. Reflection is definitely what is there. And because there are two parts to this, did anybody happen to say bilateral?
And that's a very big word, and I'm not seeing it. Bilateral.
Lateral. I wondered if some of the grade 8s might actually be, be thinking about that one as well. So that's fine. If they didn't, that's fine as well. It's definitely reflection. So this is a reflection. Whatever you see on the one side, it mirrors completely on the other side. So well done, everybody. That's very cool. All right. Well, I'm going to go back into, we should be, I wanted to be able to still throw this back up onto the other way, but that's, yeah, I don't know what's happened on my screen, but that's okay. Well, after we start drawing, then I'll come back in and figure things out. So Clarice Cliff. This lady is amazing, and I picked her for this because she actually redesigned an entire pottery industry over in the UK. So she was born in 1899, so like she was born a long time ago, but she actually ended up having an entire pottery studio with 20 women working for her in the 1920s and the 1930s, because she was just so avant-garde and just so amazing that the people that were actually that she worked for to start with, she was 13 years old when she started at their company, and all she was doing was putting gold around the edges of plates. Gold around the edges of plates, and then the plates would be put into the kiln, they'd be cured, and then off they went. And that was her job when she was 13 years old. So just think about you guys, right? You're all out there and you're coming up to 13, a lot of you. This is when she started working, was at 13. But she was noticed. They noticed her at the factory, and she was doing just funky little things. Like she would add little things into the gold after a while, right? 13 years old, why not, right? All they could do is fire her. And instead, they thought it was really kind of cool. So it ended up that she created an entire new type of pottery. And it looked like, this is one of her things that she did. These were called the crocus pattern. And what she actually invented and made was so bizarre, so totally not British. You can imagine the British having their little tea, right? They pour from their little teapots and they have their lovely little cups and everything was fine china. Well, if there was a mistake on some of the pottery that she was making, all she did was she covered it up with a triangle, or she put a swirly line over top of it. And so eventually it was called bizarre because it was so different from everything else that was around, but it was there. So this was actually a sugar bowl, this on the left-hand side here. And you can see just from this pot, she didn't make any pots that were normal looking size pots. So I have something for you to do. This is Clarice Cliff's type of pottery. These are all pieces of hers completely. And you can see the amazing bright colors that she used. If you're in grade 7 or in and around that grade, you might notice that there's a lot of complementary colors. So the colors that they're using are the colors that are across from each other on the color wheel. So blue to orange, right? Yellow to purple. Red and green. You'll see those kind of things happening in a lot of her work, and this was all her stuff. So you can see on the bottom, we've got it for you here again. We want some answers in the form again, please. What geometric shapes do you see in her pottery? What do you see already there? And do you see anything that is symmetrical? Can you find any of her pieces that have anything that's symmetrical in them? Throw it in there. We'd love to hear it. I'll talk while you're doing that, because Clarice Cliff was also pretty cool. She had this amazing pottery, an entire pottery factory that was all just for her things. But what happened as the World War II came in, the government decided that they needed all of the different things that they use for the glazes and that for her pots, so all those colors and all the different kinds of materials that went into the pottery. They actually had to stop using it all because of the war. Everything was being rationed. So the government only allowed them to make white dinnerware and white things. So all color went off of everything. And so that was kind of the end of her big era of doing this Art Deco bizarre kind of artwork. So it was an interesting story about that as well. But imagine in 1930, this woman had other women working for her, and she totally was taking the world by storm. So it was kind of cool. All right, Amar, we've got to have some answers in there now.
We do, but I need to work on pressing my mute button for sure.
It's 50 cents, man. 50 cents.
So Ava's saying she's seeing triangles and rectangles. Brianna's seeing a circle, a square, a heart. Kinda is noticing, like me, there's some things that are symmetrical. Masbiha mentioned the fourth plate is symmetrical. Faith is seeing circles, triangles. Ella mentioned the water jugs are symmetrical. Maybe we can use some of the words we've learned in today's session. Maybe we can add some more details.
Absolutely, and you're right. And I'm sorry, I don't remember who you said the fourth plate over, but pretty well. If we could draw a line, right? If let's put a line there. I'll get my ruler out again. That's the easiest thing to do. Oops, come on over here, ruler. And we brought it up through the center there. I think that's likely what you're thinking, right? Is that it would actually make on one side of the plate over to the other side of the plate. Let's just move the ruler. Both sides, I haven't got it quite in the center there, but both, oh, and I did that again, didn't I? Go back to my pointer. Yeah, I can put that pretty well right in the center there, which is cool. I also noticed, and I don't know if anybody else said that as well, but this plate at the back, it also has lines of symmetry in it, but it's kind of neat because not only does it have a line of symmetry for me going up and down, but I think it actually has a line of symmetry. So I'll put that one in first, right? If we could see that it was all the way there. It has that line of symmetry from the left to the right, but also because it is actually almost a square plate, it also has a line of symmetry. Come on, turn. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Going from the point, that orange point on that side, over to there as well. So we have two lines of symmetry for that guy, which is kind of neat. So it is time. It is time for you to get your PowerPoint ready. So I'm actually going to do some things on my screen, and you obviously can now do this yourselves on your own screen and just kind of watch and listen as we're going along. And I'd love at one point too that if you find a really cool tip or really cool trick that you have found that does a really amazing thing for what we're going to do, then throw it into the forum and Amara can yell those out and let everybody know, what it is that we're finding. So I'm going to go over to a PowerPoint. Let me see. I'm going to go to this one. This is one, I just wanted to show you this because I created this plate by all these different little tools that we have available to us. So this is just an idea that I came up with last night that I thought, oh, I just have to go and just discover things inside PowerPoint and see what's going to go on. So I'm going to start with a new one. A totally blank presentation. And you'll notice on your screen likely as well that you always have this click to add title, click, to add the subtitle. We don't really want that. So if you go to the left-hand side of your screen and new slides work, you'll find that there's one that's blank. So just go down and grab the blank one, and then you've got that. And I'm going to go back up to number 1 and just delete it because I don't need it there. Okay, if you don't have PowerPoint and you have some other program that will do drawing, then absolutely use that. And if you just have a piece of paper right now at home, then this works beautifully that way too, because all of your art, anything that you're doing artistically, you actually can just draw circles and draw triangles and draw rectangles and have all that kind of stuff come out. Okay, so I'm going to start off very, very simply by going into Draw. It's the third tab over up on the top left here, so Draw. And what I'd like to do is I want to, what am I going to do first? I think I'm just going to draw actually with just an ordinary tool. So I'll start off right off the bat just with a black just for now, and I don't want it to be too thick. So I'm just going to change the thickness down a little bit there. And for everybody, please, actually, I should have said this first. What I'd like you to do, because we're going to be thinking about symmetry, we're only going to work on 1/2 of our paper so far. Okay, you can turn this into a plate, you can turn this into a bowl, you can turn it into anything you want, but for the moment, we're going to just kind of pretend that we're just working on a flat surface here for the moment. So I'm going to try drawing with touch. I'm going to try and make this work this time. And I have my ink to shape is going to come on as well, which is right up here in the top middle, but around the halfway part of my, oh, I don't have anything pressed. There we go. I just want to be working on half of this. So there's my beautiful straight line. It's amazing how it works. Oh, I have to lasso. So I go over to the left-hand side and I'm going to get rid of that dot that I happened to put down there. I don't need it there as well. I'm going to go lasso my line. So I'm just holding down all the way around it. There it is. And now I can click on ink to shape. And that should change it into a straight line. It doesn't have to be straight. We just need to know that there's something there. Now, for me,
I'm going to cut it here for 1 second, Mary.
Sure.
There might be some confusion for some folks. You might be using PowerPoint and you might not see everything Mary sees. That's because Mary is using the desktop version of PowerPoint. If you are using the online version of PowerPoint, you might not see that ink to shape feature. So don't stress too much. You can still do most of what Mary needs you to do, but that might not be available.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So if I'm in PowerPoint and I do a new blank presentation.
And just to be clear, to get to PowerPoint, Mary, you went to office.com. And I'll post up the Q&A, office.com. You log in, you should see PowerPoint on the left-hand side of your screen, and then you would be able to get to PowerPoint.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. And also, Amar, they can also, if they're in their team space, they should have PowerPoint as well down the left-hand side of their with their teachers. I think they should have that on the left-hand side as well as one of the options of things to go into. And I don't know why I can't get into mine right now. So I have to still go and work on that when people are working on their artwork. So I've gone into PowerPoint, I've gone into office.com and looked up PowerPoint. And this is what I did, was I went into editing and I can either stay in this and work in here, or I can open the desktop app. So I got into PowerPoint from office.com. I went into editing here at the top and I've opened it in desktop app. And you're right. And I had it so that it always will do this anyways to open it that way, because I find, as you said, Amar, there are more tools in the desktop version than there are in the other one. Okay, so here I am back here now. So I'm just going to do that one step over again. I'm going to get rid of, I can go in here and I can just get rid of these as well and click on them, but I just find that it's easier just to set up a blank page and just get rid of the other one. Okay, so I'm going to go into draw. I'm going to draw my line down the middle of my page. I love the fact that I can get there so easily. I'm making it so straight, and then I'm lassoing it, as we said. There we go, and I'm going to just make it straight, just for straightness sake. Now, I really like this about PowerPoint as well, is that I can make this go to the center of my page by looking for, at some point, usually, there's a little line that actually normally shows up. Of course, is it showing for me here today? No, but normally I can see a little dotted line above and below the line, and I know that that's pretty well, and I know that's the center of my page, so it's there. Okay, so now let's say that I want to just draw some circles. So I'm going to let's see, what color do I want for my circles? I'm going to make them. My flowers are going to be red, so I'm going to put some flowers over on this side, and I'm just going to draw my circles. And as you know, I can take any of these. So I'll actually show you then with this, the dot that I'm drawing here. And yes, please, all of you, please, I'd love to see you actually doing your own creations. Don't just be following me, just kind of keep an eye on what's going on if you can as well. I'm going to change the shape outline is what's going on here now. I went down to weight and I changed how wide I wanted that line to be around the outside. And as you look at my little yellow circle, you'll see that it's the outline line is getting wider and wider. Actually, I kind of like it being the same as what the first one was, so I'm going to keep that. Now you can see that it's highlighted. So therefore, what's going to happen is I can change the color of that if I want to too. So if I want it to be black as well, which I'm going to do, I now have my first flower that I can use. And the other trick that I showed that you maybe didn't see because I didn't have everything up on the screen, so you couldn't see it, was in shape outline. You can also change the type of line that you're actually seeing. So the computer changes it to whatever you want it to be as well. You can see it changing around there. So I'm just going to click on that one to keep it there for simplicity's sake right now. So I'm going to do this quite quickly right here on screen because we are running out of time for everybody seeing everything. But what I'd like to do is I'm going to take, let's go back to home for a second. I'm there. I'm going to actually take all of these. So I don't know if everybody saw that, but I just took my mouse and I left clicked and held it so that I collected everything that's on this side of my screen. Okay, so everything is there. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm actually going to group it together. So if I want to, up here, I see on the right hand side up at the top, on the top of my screen, I have the word group. And so that means I'm going to put those objects together so that now when I go to move this, it moves all together. So that flower is now stuck together and I don't have to worry about that anymore. All right. So I want to make a few copies of this. I'm going to make maybe 3 copies. So I'm just hitting Control C and then I'm going to hit Control V and you'll see another one pop up. Control V again to get another copy. And I think that will do for right now. As you can see, I can change the size of these guys so that my flowers don't all have to be the same size. They can be anything that I want them to be. If I added, and I'm just going to insert for this time because I'm not going to try and draw it myself as well. I want to get another shape. And this time I'm going to put a rectangle down for the stem. So here's my one rectangle. And remember, I can go back up here to my shape outline. I'm going to change, I'll make it black as well. I'm going to make the outlines of everything black on this guy. I'm going to change the weight down to that, yep, 4.5. And I'm also going to change how it looks. So I want, oh yeah, I want it to be curved. I want it to be different, okay? So look at the way that that all rolls. It makes it funky. It makes it very Clarice Cliff. All right, so I can actually take, and if I can just get around, let's move my flower out of the way for a second. I'm going to come around my rectangle. I'm going to copy, or yep, Control C to copy it, Control V to paste it, and now boom, I have my 3 stems for my flowers as well. Okay, so let's move this flower here. This is not incredibly inventive, but that's all right. And Amar, I don't know if anybody's sharing any tips that they're finding, but if you hear some, feel free to yell those out as well. This is where I want to show you how we can easily make this so that we're going to do a line of symmetry here. Okay, so I've just taken all of these objects. I clicked up above to the left of everything. So I know I'm going to get everything. I'm left and dragging on my left click and then releasing. Now everything is captured. If you remember from before, I'm going up to where it says group and I'm going to pull these things all together. So now you see, instead of all those separate little pieces, this is now going to move again as one thing. So this was the big trick. This is what we were going to show you, and I wanted you to have more time for sure than this. But if I take this, sorry, let me get back to there again. I'm going to click on the right side on the little circle that is surrounding the 3 flowers, and I'm going to pull that now all the way over this way. Oh, you know what I should do first? Like I told you before, control copy, control, whoops, let's get it back here. Control copy, control paste. So control V and control C. Now I'm going to take this guy over here. At the moment, I have two sets of flowers that are congruent because they're exactly the same flowers. They just happen to be side by side. I want to make them symmetrical over my line of symmetry. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip these guys. Oops. Whoops, no, don't do that. There we go. I'm going to flip these guys, and you'll see now my little lines, those little dashed lines are showing up. So they're showing that those are, it's at the same spot on my page, but I want to make it the same size.
Here for 1 second, because I know I definitely don't know how to do that, and I'm sure a lot of students won't know how to do that. How did you flip it? Because I noticed right now it looks perfect. It's flipped. How did you flip it?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to take it back and I'm going to go from the left side this time. So I went to the circle that's in the middle of the image. Okay, do you see? And now I have, instead of my cursor as an arrow, I have my cursor as two arrows that will go back and forth. So all I did was I took a left click, and I dragged it that way. So that's all I'm doing is dragging it back and forth.
That is so helpful. I never even thought about just keep going, right? You would just end it if it goes flat. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's happening. So now I can see, if I'd had my line in there properly, you can see that all those little lines are showing up all around it to show whether or not I have things in the exact same spot as the other side. And I'm not going to worry about it right this minute because we are so short on time, and I feel so badly about that because it's fun. But I would like to show one more thing, because you, with your teachers, you easily now can just take this idea and go from here, create a geometrical garden, so that adding in all kinds of things, you can, if I wanted to insert, I can actually put in icons instead. That one that I showed you with the transformational symmetry going on, that actually was because I went into icons and shapes and I just put in the word tree. And so then I had all these trees show up. So I used this black tree right here as my base to put my circles on. So you can do that as well. That was up in icons, okay, in there as well. But the one thing that is in this program as well is that you can actually design. So if I go back to up here on the top, design is after draw. And this is what I love, is this part, and you'll play with this forever. If I click on different, oh, look what happens, right? If I click on the different types of designs, okay, everything changes. And so whatever colors you want things to be, that's what's going to happen. And you save this and you can use it for all kinds of things. You can put that lovely big circle around the outside to make it into a plate, and you'll have that happening too. There's everything that goes on here. It's just so cool to do the designs. So design again is right beside draw. And I don't ever touch design until after I have everything drawn, because it's just too tempting. It's just, you just go in there forever. And you can see there's all kinds more. There's tons and tons of them in here.
That's another 15 minutes of playtime at least, right?
Oh, it is. It is. So this is the good thing in a way, is that teachers, you can continue this completely with your students over the next couple of days and just let them have fun with this and discover things. And sometimes you'll find over here on the top, if I go over across the top here to design ideas, then sometimes they'll have extra ideas for you as well in that designing program. So, but obviously there's tons of things that you can use and everything as well. I know it's so, I'm afraid, I'm so sorry that we didn't have time for everything else, but at least we got to show you a little bit of what you can do with this. And I hope you're inspired a little bit to try some of it. I think we have to stop because it is time, I know that, but if there's any last minute questions or any last minute tips that you want to throw out, then just throw them in right now. And thank you very, very much for joining us today and for putting up with all of that went on in the middle. But now I hope you're inspired to just take this now and go and have some fun.
Thanks again, everyone. Thank you so much for bearing with our technical difficulties. Before we let you go, I do want to give a quick shout out to Annabelle, Isabel, Luke, Nathan, Iona, Juliana, Miss Wilson's class, Mrs. House's class, Omani. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for taking the time. Remember, you can pause, rewind, try to skip over that middle part that you probably don't want to spend too much time on. Enjoy it, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.